To me, it just said the
There we
broadcast
are.
is live.
Yep, there we go.
Yay!
Technical difficulties. Gotta love them.
Yes.
So, welcome everybody. I want to welcome everyone to here for our interview with Heather. Um, as you know, I've met her before when we took our trip, and she is amazing with parental alienation, talking about it and everything else. I've went through it, and she's helped me in so many ways to work through that as well. So I'm going to turn it over to her and let her speak on this because it is her expertise. So go ahead, Heather.
Oh, Shelley, thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm so excited to talk about this. It's not a fun topic per se, but it's a necessary one that's going on probably with friends and or family members that you know, and it's just not yet aware in the dominant culture yet. So, for people who don't know what parental alienation is, we'll just start there. It is when one parent turns the love a child has for their parent, the other parent, against the other parent. It's a form of abuse, psychological and mental abuse. It's, as a parent, we have a lot of influence with our children. And sometimes that influence is good, keeping children safe, healthy, developing appropriately, their education. And then sometimes this influence can show up in negative ways. And so, just to be real clear, being being alienated is when your children's love for you by the other, it could be a spouse, it could be a parent, it could be another loved one. It could, by parent, I mean in the line, that would be a grandparent then. It could happen from an aunt. It could happen from a sibling, but it's when that relationship with a loving, available, protective parent is compromised by the outside influence of another person. So I have this in my life, unfortunately. I have 3 children, twins plus one, and we were married for 14 years and together for 17. Then got a divorce in 2012, and we parallel parented decently. It wasn't fun, it wasn't easy. The wordage that we told each other quite frequently was, what you do on your parenting time is your parenting business. What I do on my parenting time is my parenting business. We just fundamentally had a lot of just basic disagreements about how to rear children. And not that either way was wrong or bad, but if we had agreed, we might have stayed married. But anyway, so after the divorce, we parallel parented, and that worked okay. And then he got remarried. That's when things really started to escalate as far as weaponizing the kids against me. Suddenly coming to my house was like a chore for the children. You know, um, we had 50-50, and they would just be like, "Oh, I'm ready to go home." And I'm like, it's the middle of Saturday. What are you talking about?" Um, the respect level at the home was tanking. The kids were mouthing off, and whenever I'd be like, "Hey, that's not how you talk to me. I'm your mom," they would be even more defiant and dug in on that. And you know, it was just very difficult. Yeah. Is there a technology issue? Can you hear me, Shelley? Oh no. Oh, she's gonna come back. Okay, I'm just gonna keep talking. I'll hold the fort down. Um, or is it over? No, it says we're still live. Okay. So I noticed those changes and just didn't really know what to do with it or what to make of it. And so in my the changes in my children, and it was just subtle, noticeable, but I didn't know how to categorize it or even how to act with this new undermining from my children, this slow level rejection. And so anyway, once they got married, things really started to escalate. And they got married in 2015. And by 2016, I was doing paid monitored visits with my children once a week. In my case, CPS was weaponized against me. I've talked with parents and I find that there's four common complicating factors that alienators use to paralyze a parent and keep them stuck from engaging the process more, because there's a lot of shame when you're not with your children and they're rejecting you. um, there's shame, there's guilt, there's grief, confusion going on, and so all these states of in our mind just keep us from talking about it, sharing. So anyway, um I was in that space of just massive confusion. And so the four complicating factors are using the criminal system, that's by engaging uh, with temporary restraining orders or protective orders. The other complicating factor can be CPS, using child protective services to do investigations. And you know, oftentimes the alienator takes control of the narrative and you're working really hard after false accusations to come back from it. So criminal charges, CPS. The other thing is mental health issues. If you've ever had depression or um, anything anxiety, whatever, if you've seen a therapist, taken medication, um, that can be used against you. And then the other thing is any addiction recovery issues, right? So those are the four things that alienators like to throw in the mix to kind of keep us frozen in fear with shame. And I was frozen. I was very frozen. I had a lot of CPS involvement in my case. And oh, so painful, so hard. And finally, I got to the point in our court case where I was outspent. I had to navigate into a different line of work because I couldn't be a social worker and work with vulnerable populations. Um, my life was in shambles. And so after not seeing so I signed the paperwork. The paperwork was, Heather, you can see the children so long as the children request time. I had had my kids 50-50 up until that point. And I really believed, like, of course my kids will invite me to games. And of course my kids will come over because they want to hang out with me. It might change and look different. It might be less. I had no idea that in that household, it was just shunned to talk about me, to ask to see me, to message me, to engage. So after signing that paperwork, 2.5 years, I only saw my children for a combined total of 80 hours, and none of it was overnights. So that was painful. I lived in the same city as the kids, just waiting for phone calls to engage and be involved. And I struggled. That rejection was hard. So I wound up selling my home, moving 50 miles up the I-5 corridor, getting a different job, and getting out of my suicidal ideation. To be quite honest, I had to change things up massively. And that's what I did. And I was up in Portland working for about 3.5 years with no communication whatsoever. Zero. Zip. Not their birthdays, not my birthdays, not Christmases, nothing. Nothing. Mother's Day, nada. And October 19th of 2020, I got a phone call at 12:30 in the morning, and it was my son. He was in an urgent care facility. He asked if I could pick him up and could he live with me. And just like that, out of the blue, things really changed. And I share my story because I want people to see and know that even when you step back, even when you disengage, even when you move away, if you still, my kids still knew my phone number. I didn't change my email. I kept the channels open, and they eventually reached out when they too were ready to get out of the household and the toxicity. My son reached out to me. Excuse me. And we were reconnected just like that. And it's been difficult, but it's been wonderful to be back in relationships. So I want people to know that there's hope, even if there's no current connection. Boy, that was a long version of my story. The other thing, is being alienated can be so isolating. You think you're the only one. You don't want to talk about it. Even your BFFs are kind of like, why can't you just get a normal divorce, like normal people, and not have the drama? Is the drama you? Is the drama the other person? Excuse me. It's really hard for people who even know you and love you to see it and believe it because it's so wild. And when, gosh, I've always known you to be a decent person. Why is CPS all up in your business? I've always known you to be a decent person. Why do you have criminal charges all of a sudden? And so even the people that are close to us who don't fully get it, don't know how to hold space and support us. And that is another layer of BS, right? That's still when you need the support the most, even your tried and true folks are kind of flailing in the moment to deliver. Um, we have a Facebook group, and we'll link into that somehow. We'll make that happen. And for people who are experiencing parental alienation, get the support from people who've been there, done that, who've lived it and have that experience. Come be supported in a way where you don't have to over explain yourself. We know you're not crazy. We know you're not paranoid. We know that this is warfare, psychological warfare, and kids are being moved around the chessboard of life like pawns, all in order to hurt the targeted parent. And it is confusing, disorienting, scary. So getting support from one human to another who knows it it's a game changer. If you're doing it alone, please don't. The holidays are coming up. Please get support. Yeah, because just right around the corner. So we have a Facebook group. In there, we have live meetings that happen weekly where you can connect with other parents and problem solve. This is what's going on in my life. Do I text my ex? Do I not? What would I say? Um, I I'm not blocked from my teen on Insta. I'd like to send a message. What text message through the app should I send? These are big questions that a lot of people are struggling with. Or maybe you just got blocked by your teen on Insta. That hurts. That's okay. Come talk to us. Come share. We know what these roller coaster rides emotionally are like, and you're not alone. So there's that. And then I also run a group coaching program called From Alienated to Integrated. And that is an 11-week experience in a private Facebook group that's small. Usually we only have about 6 to 10 folks at a time. And that's where we go in deeper into the lessons and tools and tips and tricks of how to do this bullshit and do it well and not have it drag you down in your life, right? Because we can't change that we don't have the relationship we want with our children, right? Like there's a roadblock there, a very real roadblock, and it hurts. And I find that, if I was stuck in suicidal ideation, I was stuck in self sabotage. I had a bit of unhealthy denial going on too. Like, this cannot be my life. One day I'm going to wake up and it just won't be this way. Denial, that didn't work so well. And I also had self deprivation. I spent a lot of time thinking this thought: I'll have a vacation once I have my kids. I'll have fun when I get them back. I will treat myself when I have one day with them, and what that did was just burn me out. I lived in a very small, depressed world of my own making, and it was not fun. And like I said, I had to move. I had to switch everything up from the floor up in my life. New career, new house, the whole thing. So, anyway, though we work through tools, tips, tricks, hacks, lessons on how to get the knowledge you need so that you can continue to do the work and self growth and self care, all while holding space in your life for that connection point, that reconnection to happen with your children, but not holding it in a way that brings you a sense of torture, but a way that brings a sense of devotion. Because we don't know when we are going to be reconnected. I did not know that my son would call me from an urgent care in the middle of the night in October 2 years ago. And had I known, I would have done a little bit more preparing in a different way as well. So the point being is get support. Get support. One, self-love. Take care of yourself. This is so hard. I'm going to go into a little bit. Why is this hard? Okay. Our brains are so cool. And what's going on with parental alienation is two parts of our brain are really at odds with one another. One is the amygdala. This is the place in our brain that is hardwired for our mammalness. Part of being a mammal is how we rear our young and being in connection. So we are hardwired to nurture, protect, and give resources to our children, right? And when we can't do that as a mammal, our amygdala freaks out. Wait, I can't protect my kid, I can't nurture them, and I can't give them resources. I'm failing as a mammal, right? This is there's physiological responses in our body that happen with that. So flight, flight, fight, freeze, and fawn. These are the things, these are the trauma responses that are actively happening. And then all of the stuff that you need to process in court with CPS, with your criminal case, staying sober, keeping on top of your mental health, getting your medications, from the pharmacist into your mouth. All of these are frontal cortex processes of higher thinking. And so literally the gears are grinding, going back and forth between managing how we're not able to be successful mammal parents, amygdala activation, up to frontal cortex thinking of how do I navigate these complicated bureaucracies that often need professionals like attorneys, therapists, and require scheduling. This is high level executive thinking, right? And when you're under duress, literally going back and forth, it is hard work. So if you're a targeted parent, hopefully that lets you know, like, what is going on in my body and brain. It's switching back and forth. That's a constant struggle, calming your amygdala so that you can get to the point of letting those thoughts get up to the top of your brain, your amygdala is down here. So there's like little microseconds delay. This is your amygdala is activated first before your frontal cortex. So um, getting awareness around that, that's where the tips, the tools, the strategies really help so that you can, oh, I'm back in amygdala thinking, I'm freaking out. Oh, here's what I do. I've got the tools to calm it down. And when you calm your amygdala down and you soothe your nervous system, your frontal cortex works and you'll have all your best thoughts, ideas, breakthroughs, the court strategy, the how to navigate it then becomes possible because your frontal cortex is fully engaged and supported. And that's what we need. We need our frontal cortex on board, fighting the good fight with us, not always living in amygdala, which is reactive, fight, flight, freeze, fawn. So, I've done a lot of talking. Do you have any questions, Shelley? Okay? I do want to say, Alienated to Integrated, the group coaching program. Right now, we'll drop in a link for the wait list. We're doing a pod right now currently, and our next pod will open up in January. We're going to have start rolling out the class the second week in January. So if you want to get on the wait list, all it is a simple email, and we can do that. And if you need support now, hop in the Facebook group, get the support now. So helpful, wonderful people. Find a new friend in this and link arms, like through the interwebs, and do it with a friend because it gets to be easier. And you might have a little bit more joy around carrying this heavy burden, right? And we don't know how long we're going to carry it for. So getting your support systems in full flex is so amazingly key. Don't deprive yourself. Do it, do it, do it. Yeah. Shelley, are there other things that you wanted me to discuss or go over?
No, I think you covered it all right there. I mean, yeah, and definitely want to check out that group because I mean, I'm in the group as well. It's an amazing group. There's so much support in there. If you can't find it, you can ask somebody in there will know, and they will help guide you.
True,
So definitely,
we have a lot of wonderful members with tons of resources. Like, I don't know all the things. No one knows all the things. But if someone comes to us and needs help and assistance, we'll start connecting the dots and steering you in the correct way to get the information that's valuable to you that can shift things for you. So that's court, that's helping you find a therapist, that's, getting your legal strategy together, learning how to engage with your ex in a way that puts boundaries around it and keeps you safe. Like, there are strategies to do this. If you're not aware of them, come on into the group. That's the perfect place to be. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Well, is there anything else you'd like to talk about, or we can?
Trying to think what else is coming through, and that feels pretty good.
Oh, I do have one question.
Yeah.
I do have one question. What about the children? How does this affect the children, though, as well, when it comes to like parental alienation?
Oh, yes. Oh, our poor children. It's really unfortunate, bad, unhealthy. It's psychological abuse, is what it is. When a kiddo's developing, our brains are not done growing until we're like 25 to 30, 29, right in there. And during these formative years, we're given two parents for a reason. It increases our odds of survival in nature and in the world in general. And when a child has to perform the act of rejecting an available, loving, protective parent, in order to secure the love of one another parent, the signal is ultimately half of you is wrong, half of you is bad, right? Because we are made up from mom and dad or whatever the relationship is, right? And there's that combining. And so when half of that equation is bad, ugly, made out to be the enemy, children have to start abandoning portions of themselves that are remind and are aligned with that targeted parent. So children then have to create mental workarounds about like, well, I know my mom is nice and available and loving and wants the best for me, but now in order to appease the other parent, I need to create stories and override my memories. My memories are true, but I now need to make up different memories and switch them up so that I have a basis for this rejection and this hatred. And so it is a fracture to the child's psyche. The children are usually, the mental health prospects for our kids are bleak. And we really do need to prioritize protecting them through a custody dispute, a divorce, etc. So for children, that can look like depression, anxiety, self-harm, suicidal ideation, suicidal tendencies, um, eating disorders, OCD, larger mental health things like bipolar, um, other personality disorders. I mean, it is hard work for a tiny human brain to hate someone that they know is safe and loving and that they enjoy. But in order to get their needs met within the one relationship with a parent they are aligned with, they have to perform that and go through those motions in order to secure the other parents, the targeting parents, love, resources, protection, and nurturing. And it's unfortunate because if we were bad parents as an alienated mom, if I was a bad mom, they would have just as a family, gotten the bus and driven away. Like I wouldn't, but they had to destroy my reputation and how my kid thinks about me in order to get the desired effect of full alignment with them. You know, um, we are not alienated parents because we're bad. We're alienated parents because we're good parents. We are in it for the right reasons, for the proper growth and development, survival and thrival of our children. And they pay the biggest price in all of this. It's painful and it's hard for a parent, but ultimately it's the children who really do suffer, and bringing more awareness to that and how our protective agencies need to prioritize their mental health and mental safety. It is not natural. The bottom line is it's not natural for a child to reject a parent, even a child that is physically abused, neglected. Um, Still, we know this from research, they still love that parent. It's dysfunctional. It's not appropriate, right? But that's how hard our amygdala is wired to love and be in relationship with our parent. So if you see a child in your world that says things like, no, I just don't talk to my mom or my dad, this is a warning sign. Unless that parent is dead, this is a warning sign. Their mind is being corrupted against a parent. Even parents that are in prison still have connection through, technology and letters with their children. Um, Again, that's not ideal, of course, but the connection still is healthy. That's our amygdala. We are hardwired as mammals to preserve that relationship at all costs. So when that is being overridden, someone's in charge there. Someone's making that happen. Someone's corrupting the child's brain. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming today, and we will make sure that we drop the link or to the group below on Facebook here, so you guys can join it if you feel called to. I'm telling you, you'll have so much support there, and also the group program link too. She can drop down there as well, so that way you guys can get on the waiting list.
And I would love to meet anyone. Come on into the group. Let's chat and hang out a little bit on the interwebs. I would love that. We've done that before. Shelly and I have, and then we got the honor and privilege of meeting in real life. It was so much fun. So yeah, if you're in my area too, I'm always open and ready to meet with parents in real life. That's such a unique experience to have. So or if you come into town, so like Shelly did. So
right.
That was awesome. Thank you so much.
It was awesome.
This has been so much fun. I really appreciate you having me on, and just thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. The group has been a great support for me, especially through the holidays. So
yeah.
All right. Well, we love you guys.
Yes, we do. All
Bye,
right.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh,